the Telegraph focus on the war in Ukraine. They quote Western officials who say that Vladimir Putin is weaponizing global food supplies by stealing grain and destroying agricultural equipment.
And Russia says almost 700 Ukrainian fighters at the Azovstal steelworks in Mariupol have surrendered in the past 24 hours. Russia says the total number of fighters brought out since Monday is almost 1,000.
The UN Secretary-General says the war in Ukraine is increasing the risk of a global food shortage, and the conflict could lead to years of mass hunger in poorer countries. We speak to our correspondent, Joe Inwood, who's in Lviv in the west of Ukraine. Joe, take us through some of what else he had to say.
Well, it's all about food security, really. I mean, Ukraine, it's a bit of a cliche, I know, but Ukraine has always been called the breadbasket of Europe. Huge amounts of agricultural products, of wheat, of that sort of thing, comes out, and it flows out into the Black Sea through ports like Mariupol, of course, which your viewers will have heard of many times, and Odessa too. Now, those are all blockaded. Huge amounts of that grain has either been requisitioned or destroyed in the fighting. And more importantly, I think one of the long-term consequences of this is that planting season is down. Planting season is not taking place, and that's why Antonio Guterres is talking about a long-term food crisis. And we are also already seeing it played out, not just in high food prices around the world, but in political terms as well. Look at countries like Sri Lanka, where recently we've seen huge political instability caused by food insecurity. And I think that's what he's talking about. We're going to see that sort of process, as well as in places like East Africa, huge spikes in food prices, places which really can't afford to cope with it. There is one other point he made, and that's fertilizer. Belarus and Russia are huge exporters of fertilizer, and so we may not just see falling exports, but falling growth productivity around the world as well.